Hey guys, welcome to Girls Rule. This is the second episode. Today we're talking about Hawaii, but most importantly, we're talking about the first and only woman to ever rule Hawaii. We're talking about Lili'uokalani. She was born on the island of Oahu on September 2nd, 1838. Lili'uokalani was educated by American missionaries in a school founded to only educate the children of the highest-ranking chiefs. They taught them everything a royal child would need to know to operate in polite American society, such as reading, writing, history, etiquette, music, manners, penmanship, etc. So American missionaries first came to Hawaii around 1820, and their goal primarily was to Christianize people because they believed that the Hawaiian culture was inherently inferior, underdeveloped, and even dangerous just because it was foreign, it was different, it wasn't American, it wasn't European, it was unfamiliar. You know, it's like, thank God nobody thinks like that anymore. I'm trying to forget about you. Anyway, and they became the dominant power. They ended up taking over as the primary instructors of the royal children in school and as primary positions in the Hawaiian cabinet. Their second goal was to make money. I think it was really always to make money, but they just were able to get there because they're like, we're spreading Christianity. And how they made their money was by establishing sugar plantations throughout the islands. In fact, they took over most land that had belonged to Native Hawaiians, but they were just like, well, we really know how to use it, so we'll just take it from you and you can work on our sugar plantation. So Lili'uokalani ended up marrying an American, John Dominus, when she was 24 years old. They lived in a plantation-style house in Honolulu called Washington Place. And even though she wanted to, Lili'uokalani was never able to have kids, and her husband often went to socialize without her. So in 1874, Lili'uokalani's brother, Kalakaua, became king and named his sister heir to the throne. He was known to be super extravagant, like he had a birthday party that lasted 2 weeks, and he invited over 10,000 people. But he was actually super dedicated to Hawaiian tradition and actually brought back the hula after it had been banned by the missionaries. So things started to get really heated in 1881 between the American missionaries and the Hawaiians because that was when Kalakaua decided to go on a world tour. He wanted to meet other leaders, and in his place, he named Lili'uokalani as Queen Regent. But then she pissed off the missionaries. Because of the recent influx of immigrants from China and Japan, there was an outbreak of smallpox during Kalakaua's world tour. It sounds like a band, like he's on his world tour. So while he was on his world tour, Lili'uokalani noticed that the native Hawaiian population was being significantly impacted by an outbreak of smallpox, and that smallpox just kept growing as ships kept coming into the harbor. So in order to try and do something about it, she closed the port, which really upset the business people because they all of a sudden weren't making money. And they were all Americans, by the way. They were losing money. Oh my God. Like, people weren't dying anymore, but like they were losing money, so it was a problem. By 1885, almost all of Hawaiian land was in the hands of foreigners. A lot of them were the children of the original missionaries who called themselves the Missionary Boys, which sounds like some 19th century boy band, but was actually a super paternalistic group of men who felt that they could save Hawaii by Americanizing native people. So in 1887, Lili'uokalani is out in England partying with Queen Victoria, casual. The missionary boys, who now call themselves the Hawaiian League, because they're like, guys, we're not a boy band. We gotta change this to something more professional. So they forced Kalakaua at gunpoint to sign a document which becomes the new constitution, which they call the Bayonet Constitution. And what the Bayonet Constitution did is it eliminated the Hawaiians' right to vote. It eliminated the Hawaiians' right to hold high political office. It also established a permanent military port at Pearl Harbor for the U.S. Yeah, that's where that started. And it also deprived Kalakaua of any real power because he suddenly became just a puppet. They were really in charge. So in 1891, when Lili'uokalani was 52 years old, Kalakaua passed away and she took over the throne, and she was the first woman to ever hold that office as the Queen of Hawaii. So because, surprise, surprise, Lili'uokalani is a woman, the Hawaiian League thinks, oh, you know what? She'll be really easy to manipulate. So they thought they could do whatever they wanted with her once she became queen. Wrong. This is what happens when you rely on stereotypes. Actually, the moment she got into office was like, no, this constitution that you guys made my brother sign is ridiculous. So Lili'uokalani actually ended up writing this whole new constitution, which she presents to her cabinet in secret. And the Americans kind of go behind her back afterward and start telling people about it. Non-American Hawaiians, such as natives and Asian immigrants, heard about her plans to restore their rights, so they all gathered around Lili'uokalani Palace. It was there that she announced that she planned to write a new constitution. So she makes this announcement in Hawaiian, and all the people are like, whoa, but the Americans totally freak out and are like, this is treason. The American minister in Hawaii, John L. Stevens, decides to set up all of his military troops around Lili'uokalani Palace. So Lili'uokalani sees that there is a significant military threat. She's being asked to resign to an American provisional government. So she's like, you know what? I surrender to the United States of America. Surprise! The American government had absolutely no idea that this was going on. The US all of a sudden hears, yeah, Lili'uokalani surrendered to you. And they're like, what the hell? Why would you do that? This is horrible foreign policy. Afterwards, she goes to President Grover Cleveland to appeal to reinstate her, and he's totally chill with that, but the new Hawaiian leader, Sanford Dole, does not let this happen. So Cleveland then sends a special envoy, James H. Blount, to investigate what's going on in Hawaii. He actually was like, you know what? This was so not okay for us to come in and take power like this. You need to put Lili'uokalani back on the throne. But the provisional government refuses to step down. And, you know, President Cleveland is like, okay, what do? Do I send American troops to go fight American troops in Hawaii? Meanwhile, Hawaiian royalists actually import a bunch of guns and ammunition from San Francisco. The Americans intercept them and blame the entire plot on Lili'uokalani, so they arrest her. Even though she had nothing to do with it, she had no idea this was going on. That's what history says. History, when you look at it, sometimes it's kind of just like a big, like, he said, she said, cheesemit fest, where it's like, she did this, and it's like, no, I didn't do anything. Anyway, in 1895, she's put on trial, and instead of Lili'uokalani, they refer to her as Mrs. Lydia Dominus, totally Americanizing her name and treating her as a common citizen rather than a queen. About the trial, she writes that, the only charge against me, really, was that of being a queen. The object of the trial was evidently to humiliate me, to make me break down, but in this, they were disappointed. My equanimity was never disturbed, and their own report relates that I throughout preserved that haughty carriage which marked me as an unusual woman. She was kept in a small room in Lili'uokalani Palace where she had a prayer book and she composed music all day because she was actually like a really awesome composer. So then Hawaii was annexed by the US in 1898 because Spanish-American War, and Hawaii was actually at a really good strategic location militarily. So the US was just like, we'll just fully take this over now. Fun facts. Number 1, when she was Queen Regent while Kalakaua was on his world tour, she actually spent most of her time trying to establish schools for young Hawaiian children. Number 2, so when she came to power and discovered that the treasury was almost bankrupt, her idea, she's like, okay, we're gonna cut costs. Number 1, we're gonna cut my salary. 3, this is my cat. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. This stuff, making these videos is just really fun for me. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.